That long time.
It worked out good. Yeah.
So I guess I'll be seeing you on
You're
Saturday.
you're keeping McLean Ave okay?
I don't know, I'm
Doing
not
the
even
best.
sure I'm keeping myself okay these days. All right, I'll call the Tuesday, December 5th, 2023, meeting of the Weathersfield Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Mr. Allard, would you please call the roll?
You bet. Chairman Roberts.
Here.
I am here. Commissioner Hammer. Commissioner Dean.
Here.
Commissioner Drake. Here. Mr. Edwards. Mr. Homeki.
Here.
Commissioner Hughes. Commissioner Oikel.
Here.
Commissioner Ukalani.
Here.
Commissioner Leon
Here.
and Commissioner Thompson's.
All right, thank you very much. We have 6 regular members, 2 alternates. I'll seat the 2 alternates. We have 1 public hearing that has already been continued to January 17th, 2024, so we don't need to discuss that. The other item of old business, we will resume public hearing 2162-23Z, BDC Holdings, Inc., seeking a special permit in accordance with Section 512, self-storage of the Weathersfield zoning regulations for the construction of an 84,920 square foot self-storage facility with associated site improvements at 2176 and 2180 Berlin Turnpike. That hearing was continued from November 8th. And since nobody here who doesn't already know the rules, I won't go through the description of how we conduct a public hearing. I'll just invite the applicant to identify themselves by name and address for the record and continue with their presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Chris Pulaski. I'm a licensed professional engineer with Solely Engineering. Office is located in Monroe, Connecticut. Here on behalf of the applicant, BDC Holdings. I would just like to give a quick recap to how we got here. So last November, we did come before you, and there's a text amendment application for the self-storage regs, which was approved by this commission at the end of 2022. We then followed up with a inland wetland application and a planning and zoning application for a just shy of 100,000 square foot self-storage facility. Those were both approved back earlier this year. And then over the summer, after reanalyzing the market and adjusting their strategy moving forward, the applicant has decided to reduce the building footprint by about 15%, down to 84,920, which we then resubmitted to wetlands and to planning and zoning. We did receive wetland approval in October. We came before you about a month ago, and now I'm before you tonight to hopefully wrap up the planning and zoning portion so our client can proceed towards construction. So just give me 1 second, I'll pull up the presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, they got it done so Friday.
Thank you very much. Can you all see the screen? Or is my presentation on the screen?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Warming up.
Awesome. So we're here to talk about 2176 and 2180 Berlin Turnpike. The site is on the Newington-Weathersfield border. The majority of the site is located in Weathersfield. If you remember from some of our prior conversations, it's a rather difficult site. It's currently blighted. There's an existing residence that's kind of worn down, some foundation remnants and other things on the site. It's down in a hole pretty significantly. There's been some past applications on the site for apartments and other things, but our client has purchased the site, and we really believe that the self-storage use that we're proposing is the perfect fit for this property. And again, you all have seen this application before with a bigger footprint, but here we are today. So again, Berlin Turnpike runs north-south on the left side of your screen here. I can get my mouse to work. There it is. So it runs north-south on the left side of your screen. And then we are proposing one right-in, right-out entrance from Berlin Turnpike. We have submitted to the Connecticut DOT and have received approval and addressed a bunch of comments and stuff. So the entrance that you see here is pretty finalized in terms of Connecticut DOT standards. There's one singular drive down into the site with two-way traffic. And then you enter a facility where there's a parking space and a handicapped parking space for potential users for the facility. So if you don't have a storage unit and you're interested in renting one, you can park here. And then as you proceed around the site, there's a gate located off this drive aisle right here. And if you've already rented a facility, you can enter in your keypad or your key card and have access to this side of the building and the rear, which is
Can't really see
where
your mouse.
Your mouse is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on one sec.
Maybe there's a laser.
Hold on one sec.
We saw the mouse moving.
Can you see this red dot or no?
No.
I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
There you go.
Can you see this in my mouse now?
Yeah.
I'm just going to go from this slide, if that's okay with everybody, so. So again, north-south, we have Berlin Turnpike. There's a right-in, right-out entrance. We've been before the DOT. Proceed into the site, two-way traffic. In the front of the building here, there's a couple of parking spaces if you're interested in renting a unit. And then you proceed this way. There's a gate here, so the rear of the facility is secure. If you have a storage unit, you access the site and proceed down this way. This entire side features overhead doors. There's another entrance to the rear of the facility here. And then the back side of the building also features overhead doors. There's a 5,000 square foot outdoor storage facility, and the building is about 575 individual units, so it's, again, decreased from the prior, I think we had 611 or 612. And it's 84,920 square feet, which is about a 15% reduction from the previous approval. So this is that site plan. Let me see if I can just zoom in a little bit here. So again, this is everything that I mentioned, the site drive coming into the site. You have the building here. We have a retaining wall along this parking area right here, as well as a retaining wall here. There are two stormwater basins on the site, which I'll get to right in a second, but they are located, one is right here to the north of the facility, and one is located to the south right here. I do want to show this slide quick. So this, what you're seeing here is a comparison from the old footprint to the new footprint. So the blue line here, if you can still see my cursor, that was the prior building footprint. And then the red line here was the prior southern extent of the pavement. So everything shifted in, if you will. Prior, we had about 1.6 acres of impervious area on the site that we were proposing. We're down to one second here. We are down to 1.38 with the new layout. So we've now decreased almost a quarter acre of impervious area with the revised building plans. So I know that was one of the concerns mentioned at the last meeting with my colleague Rob. So I wanted to just show this slide to show that we did shift the building and bring it in along with the impervious area in the back. So this is our grading and drainage plan. So again, the site up at the road is pretty substantially high in elevation compared to the rear. It's around 260, 258 here. You come in, there's a drive, and then it kind of shallows out a little bit, and then you proceed down the site drive into the site. The first floor is at elevation 238, and then it's relatively flat all around the front, side, and rear of the building. And then there's a like 10-foot drop along this side of the building towards the wetlands. We really didn't want any activity on the wetlands side of the building when we're before wetlands. So there's only one staircase, which is an egress, it's required for egress purposes. So there's one exit and staircase on this side of the building. But again, as mentioned before, you see the stormwater pond to the north here, which collects and treats the stormwater. Everything's been designed in accordance with 2002 Connecticut Stormwater Quality Manual. We have multiple treatment options that are featured here, including deep sump catch basins, hydrodynamic separators, sediment forebays, and other water quality treatment measures, including level spreaders. But again, there's that basin to the north. It's relatively flat around the building, and then there's another basin located to the south here. There is also a infiltration trench with a perforated pipe that is located along this property line. The bedding barn, which is in between us and the road, currently sheds all of their water to the rear, right onto our site. So we needed a way to collect, try to promote some infiltration of that water, and then route it accordingly so it doesn't just dump right onto our parking lot. So that's the reason for the infiltration trench.
Is there a
Again-
step there, not to interrupt, is there a step there between bedding barn and you?
Bedding barn is like the front of the building's at road level,
Yeah, I mean,
and then
back.
you drive down in the back, and there's a significant decrease in elevation.
I mean, can you drive through bedding barn into you?
No,
Can't, because this,
it's a large parking area, and then there's a lawn or woods area, and it's not currently
yeah.
connected, and there's a little bit of a grade change, so there is no current means of connection point. So that's our grading and drainage plan. This is our soil erosion sediment control plan. Again, everything is, on this plan, has pretty much stayed the same compared to our prior approval, because when we moved the building, we didn't want to push any closer to the wetlands. So if you have to imagine the entire, what is the eastern side or the wetland side, we kind of held that and worked the other direction, because we didn't want to mess up our wetland approval. So there's silt fence, there's mulch berms, there's a limited disturbance, we have multiple sediment traps on site, again, one in the northern portion of the site, one in the southern portion of the site. We have stone check dams, there's material stockpile locations.
Whoa, what are those?
So this is a material stockpile, so topsoil on the site, we had to scrape it.
Temporary.
Yes, temporary, that's
Okay,
correct.
thank you.
Yes. And there's an anti-tracking pad construction entrance and silt sack protection for all the catch basins. So this is our utility plan. So currently, thankfully, there's water, gas, electric, cable, all in the street. So we are going to be tapping off those lines and coming in to our site. We're going to be relocating a fire hydrant as part of our plans. Everything comes down the main drive and then enters into the front of the building, with the exception of the sanitary sewer. So we've had preliminary conversations with the MDC, as there is an existing sanitary sewer main line that bisects our site where my cursor is currently. So we're continuing those conversations and pursuing a permit with them, but we will be tying in our sewer line from the building into their sewer main right here in this point. This is our landscape plan. We have a significant amount of trees along this side of the entrance drive as you come into the facility. There is over 15 large trees along the wetland border here, or 10 to 15 trees, excuse me. There's a series of shrubs located throughout the parking lots, landscape islands. We have additional trees located here. And then as you proceed towards the south of the building, I do want to make this point, and I'm going to throw some numbers out here. So we have 8 holly trees that are 6 to 8 feet in height along that southern border, because we do wanted to keep the neighbors in mind. So there's a 35-foot natural wooded buffer that's remaining. If you're working from the southern property line, the condo association is located roughly here. This would be the neighboring property area. So we have 35 feet of natural wooded buffer area. Then we have a row of dense holly trees. They're 6 to 8 feet tall. If you're familiar with holly trees, they hold their leaves all year round. So they provide a first step of screening right there. Then we have our stormwater basin. Then there's a fence surrounding the outdoor storage area, but if you recall from our last approval, it was agreed upon that we would make the southern side of the fence 2 feet taller, so it's 8 feet tall, and it has privacy slats. So that's another screening measure that we took to screen the facility from the neighboring condo association. And then there is, I'll get to the lighting plan in a second, but the lights are all dark sky compliant. They're not lights that shine out, they shine down. So there shouldn't be any light levels shining into the condo association. But for the hard numbers that I want us to use directly from our site plan, it's 35 feet of a natural wooded buffer from the property line. It's 100 and, hold on one sec. It's 140 feet from the edge of the pavement that we're proposing to the property line, and it's over 250 feet from the building to that southern property line where the condos are. When the apartment complex was proposed here, I know it was a lot closer than that. So I just wanted to point out that we are making an effort to sufficiently move and screen our building from the condo association. So again, we have the holly trees here, the trees to be planted along the buffer. There's other wetland plantings, wetland buffer plantings that we're proposing. We have seed mixes in all the basins. There's erosion control mixes throughout the site. And I did go over all the other landscaping that we are proposing. So this is our lighting plan. I'll bring that up as well. So we do have a series of wall packs and canopy lights. You can see these black dots that are located around the building. So those are mounted on the building, but those again come out and shine down. They're not the spotlights that you may think of typically seen in older industrial buildings. That's not the case. This building is very modern. And then we have a series of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 and 6 pole lights. And again, those go up and shine straight down. They're dark sky compliant. So those lights also operate during the standard business hours, and then past the standard business hours, everything is motion activated. So the facility is 24 hours for access, but you cannot rent a new unit outside of the business hours. I believe we went over that last time, but happy to provide any more detail that may be needed. So go ahead. This is Shane Reynolds with the BDC Group.
Hi, I'm Shane Reynolds from the BDC Group. Just to make a correction, for hours of operation, we're going to be open essentially Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 5:30, and then we'll have a short window of time for non-occupied, so non-worker operated access, usually between 6 and 9:30 in the morning, and then from 5:30 p.m. To about 9:30 or 10 p.m. in the evening. After 10 p.m., we shut the entire building down. So even if you do rent a unit, if you try to access that unit, your key card won't activate after 10 p.m. So we won't have anybody on site there because they only work normal corporate hours. So by 10 p.m., those lights should be turning off. There is 24-hour sort of like monitoring. We have a security system in place, and then we have help services that are on call, like a live line till about 1:30 in the morning. And then, of course, we have, access, fire department, any type of emergency personnel, 24 hours a day. But that would be extremely, rare, knock on wood. Only need to be accessed in 24-hour framework in an emergency capacity. And then on the weekends, it's even less than that. So the hours of operation on Saturday will basically be like 9 to 3 and then 11 to 4 on Sundays. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shane. So that's our lighting plan. And again, if you see these dashed lines that kind of go around here, that's the limit of our, what is called the 0-foot candle. So that's where the light stops essentially from the proposed lights. And again, that's almost near the edge of the pavement that we're proposing, which is 140 feet from that southern property line. So I just want to make it clear that there's no lights that should be shining onto that southern condo complex. Some other things, we did receive comments from the town planner, thank you. We also did receive comments from town engineer. We have responded to both. Just want to point out some of the revisions that were made. We did add a fire lane per the fire marshal. 1 second here. So there is a fire lane located along this side of the building. There's still two-way access there, but no one's allowed to park there. The site has been designed to accommodate a full pumper truck to get in, navigate around the back of the building, and get out. We have ran those truck turning movements and submitted those figures as part of our application. We added a couple of other fire department connections for comments that they made. There were some planning and engineering comments related to the stormwater that we addressed. Our basins actually got a little bit bigger as a result, but we're using a little more conservative analysis, so that's the reason for the little bit bigger basins. And then there was also some comments regarding the increase in impervious area, which, as I mentioned before, we now significantly decreased the impervious area, almost a 1/4 acre from what we were previously proposing. And some other housekeeping items, I do have, if you want to see the building, it's the same as we were proposing before, but here are some elevation shots of it. It is within the required maximum height requirements. I just asked that the commission, in the previous application, under 512D, which is the self-storage regulations, they made the finding that we did not need to use the mixed-use component because we met the conditions that we made a text amendment for. I asked that that same decision is made this time around for our facility. And again, that was because there was a mixed-use component, but we went to the text amendment to change the requirements, and we still meet all those requirements that we put forth as part of that text amendment. I apologize, I have talked a lot. I, at this time, would open it up to any commissioner questions you may have.
Dave?
Thank you.
Can you go to the first picture, the colored one?
Yes.
Between the back of the bedding barn and your properties, there's no wall there or anything? It's smooth right in with the grass strip, is that what it looks like?
Yeah, so essentially, the back of the bedding barn is just pitched straight
goes
towards
right
our
into you.
property.
Goes right
Yes.
into you.
So we have to
Do you have a
collect,
fence or anything, or are people gonna?
there's probably 5 or 6 feet of like overgrown stuff that
Okay, so
prevents.
people aren't just gonna bulge?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, you can't really, there's no really means of access, and there's a few foot grade change as well. It's not substantial, but it is enough to like provide separation between the properties. So, thank you for the question. Yes.
Can I see the grading plan real quick? Along the driveway, along the inside elbow of the driveway, there is the low point where you have that one basin. Yeah, the grading plan is probably more.
Sorry, 1 second.
It's hard, it's just tough to read the contours, so I was just curious about the drainage. I assume the driveway comes up before it comes down, so we don't have to worry about the roof.
Yeah, I'd be happy to give a little more detail. So the water essentially flows down the driveway. There's a series of catch basins located here. There's a catch basin located here. And there's a catch basin located here. So this is all pitched down to this catch basin. There's a high point right here, so this pitches back towards that catch basin.
So you're keeping the water on the driveway, not going to that inside corner property basin, that's the low point there?
So outside of the driveway, this goes down to a basin that's located here. It's a double catch basin. We've decided to stay appropriately.
Is it a double?
It's a double catch basin, I believe, or it may be a
It's a type
single.
CL catch basin.
But there's also another catch basin here. There is an existing stormwater pond on the neighboring property.
Okay, yeah.
So we just wanted to make sure that we were collecting anything that we would be adding in the area.
Yeah, I guess my only concern was bringing a bunch of drainage there, maybe some snow storage or whatever, and creating some ice across the driveway, so that's good.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you for the question, so.
Peter?
Could you show again where the line was for the parking lot, where it is now?
Yes.
Is it the crosshatch area or not?
I'm sorry, here, so the red line that you see on the bottom of the screen here, and I'll zoom in even more. This was the prior limit of outdoor storage and extent. So we moved it in, I don't have this dimension in front of me, but I want to say 20 or 30 feet at least. And then this blue box was the prior building footprint, and now we are up here with the building.
So is it fair to say that roughly the amount of building that you moved up is equivalent to the red line moving to the hatch area?
Yeah, I wanted to say it's within 5 or 10 feet of
It
that.
looks pretty
So
close.
It's pretty close,
So
yes.
you basically balanced the two in essence, right?
Correct. We had to slide the building forward a little bit when we rejigged things, if you will. So that it might be, like I said, 5 or 10 feet difference, but we essentially, everything that was brought in here, we at least gained with the building and then more so. So.
We had a long discussion about this last meeting, and it was the thought that infrastructure would remain, because there was always a possibility that you may want a bigger building in the future. What did you do with the infrastructure? Did you leave it as is, or wasn't there any infrastructure in the area that you now have grass on?
All of the infrastructure shifted, essentially. So this stormwater in this area pitched to the south here, so we just brought it closer to the building. If that makes any
So you
sense?
did change the infrastructure
Yeah.
to accommodate the grass area that you put in?
Correct.
All right, I got it. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Is there anyone in the public that has any questions about this application? Okay. And there was no correspondence. What comments did you have? I mean, we didn't really get a chance to look at things too carefully.
No, we got the plans on Friday, so.
I apologize for that. Had an incident on Thanksgiving. I was a little out of work for a few days.
Same.
We just finished our review yesterday, and I just went over it with Derek today also, so. The engineer, the city engineer has no further comments. He has addressed everything that the city engineer had. The only comment I had, you're right, Peter, that was the main discussion, as you recall, and he's reduced that area that's open and not the storage area. He's reduced that by 50% over what you saw last time, so that was like, I was all set once I saw that. So the only thing, we're recommending that it meets all the zoning regulations and go ahead and approve it. We do need the waiver of 5.12D. And the architectural plans, you didn't submit any with this revised plan that you brought in. So I just want to make it clear that we're approving it based upon if the commission so does approve it, based upon the architectural plans dated 8/17/23.
Yeah, and we're happy to provide a revised set as a condition of approval. We will definitely, the building is not going to change, but I want to make sure that everybody has the most up-to-date set. So as a condition of approval, we're happy to provide the latest architectural plan set.
So I would make that a condition, sir, that the revised architectural drawing be reviewed by staff to ensure that they're the same as before.
Okay, good, thank you.
I'm sorry. One more thing was, on the demarcation in the southern end of the property, there are three different plans show the tree line to remain, and also the limit of disturbance are different in all three. So.
I apologize, we'll make sure that they're, on our final plan, said that they're all
That needs to
squared
be
away.
consistent, because I don't want somebody that's going out and planting the trees and taking the landscaping plan and it cuts some more trees down that.
Agreed.
that were in the thing. So to have, I make that a condition too, that all three plans be consistent with each other as far as that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the commission and the residents appreciate the efforts you made to basically pull things, northward as far as possible, to minimize any potential impacts on the townhouses. And at the risk of making people roll their eyes, does the water flow north or south in this area?
It flows west to east. I don't know if that helps you, sorry. The water from
You have a
the
brook that goes north and south.
Oh, the brook in the wetland area?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I
All right.
apologize. So it flows to the
One of
wetland
those
through our
mysteries of
site.
life.
So
I'll get the answer to that.
We can never know.
I apologize.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, and the reason I asked was, some of the residents talked about water coming into their, neighborhood, and if the water goes the other direction, just naturally, that sort of eliminates the concern. I'm not asking things for no reason.
The whole back of the property is essentially one big wetland. So-
Yeah, oh, yeah, and beyond that is another one.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Last call for anybody in the public hearing.
Just real quick.
Excuse me, sir, could you, I don't mean to impose, but could you just please come up and give your name and address for the record?
I'm Gregory Laitman from 32 Orchard Brook Drive, and my question is a pretty simple one. I was just wondering about a timeline to start. That's it.
Thank you. So probably not going to get into the ground until the spring at this point. Winter is kind of set in. A lot of the asphalt plants and everything are closed. So I'd assume spring construction, about a year probably to get it constructed, is that fair? So it'll be up and operational spring 2025. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Anybody else in the commission have any questions for the applicant? Tom?
Just one quick question, or more of a concern. Since the plans have had essentially details revised since the Wetlands Commission ruled on this, since the October meeting of the Wetlands Commission, have you run all these various detail changes by the wetlands agent
So-
to ensure that there's consistency between what the Wetlands Commission determined in its approval and what you're asking this commission to approve?
So I'm happy to reach back out to John Mills, but just to provide some comfort, we essentially held this like 20-foot or 25-foot buffer along the backside of the building and along this basin and didn't change anything from there to the wetlands. So we essentially took what we previously had and worked towards the street with our changes. I don't know if that makes like any sense in effect, but I'm happy to just
I'm
make
gratified by
sure.
your comments, but I also
Gotcha.
think just to be really the safe side for your benefit as well as for the town's benefit.
Yep.
That we make sure that the staff of both commissions are fully on board with all the various revisions, changes, detailed modifications and the like. So-
Understood. Yeah, like I said, I'm happy to reach out to John Mills and clarify that. So,
That's been done.
thank you.
We had a meeting today of the engineering staff, which John was there also.
I mean, it's convenient he's housed in engineering, but, I just wanted to go on the record of that concern.
Sure.
Thank you.
Ryan?
When you were coordinating with the state, did they have any comments on the striping for the Berlin Turnpike? Because it's kind of a non-standard merge that's going on. And I was
Yeah.
curious if they had anything planned, because sometimes pulling out of there, you're in a large right lane, and you can feel like you can pull in,
Yeah.
there's traffic, and
I know what you're talking about, because having been to the site and done test pits, not that I'm aware of, they're really pushing these concrete entrances and
yeah, it's directional
islands,
and everything. I was
but,
just
yeah.
curious if they had any future plans of that, because it's an odd striping situation that they have for that lane drop, so.
I'm
Just
happy,
curious if they-
yeah, I personally don't know, but I could double check with our traffic department and see if anything came through on that line.
If there's any coordination, yeah, if they have anything, because it's easy to pull out of there
Right.
regardless of the traffic level, because there's like so much room.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, after the original approval, I've been paying more attention to where it is with respect to the
Yeah,
reduction.
it's
and
just
It's
at that.
pretty well reduced by then.
And it's kind of a weave, though, because people are taking either the 175 exit, if you will,
Right.
and then people are staying on, so it's an odd situation.
Right, and you have the other entrance, you know, a
Yeah,
couple
just-
hundred feet away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Any-
you.
Anything
you.
else before Tom?
I just want to thank Chris and Shane for being due diligence that you gave us, including the 14-page, everything, including the lighting.
Thank you.
Schematic and some of the detail, the wetlands maps. You dotted the i's, crossed the t's, and just about everything we asked for the previous meetings. I think you put it all together really well, so thank you.
Thank you, you all have been a pleasure to work with, and so has town
You
staff,
don't
so
talk
thank
too
you.
much, Chris, either, so.
Thank you. Sometimes I don't want to ramble on, so I know your time is valuable, so, thank you again, I appreciate
Yeah,
your
we'll
time.
have minutes to approve after you, so, you know.
Yeah, this is busy night.
All right,
There's a UConn game.
if there's nothing else, does someone want to make a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second?
All right, any discussion? If not, all in favor of closing the hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, someone want to make a motion to start the discussion?
I will make a motion to approve 216223Z to the satisfaction of town comments. It sounds like, I don't know if we need the stipulation, if that was already, it seems like they were all already incorporated, but I'll just say this, to the, the waiver 5.12D, so I was going to include that, but I just wanted to make sure that we're including the staff comments if we need to.
Yeah, the only comments that we would do is that to review the staff to review the architectural and consistency of the plans, the three plans as far as the tree line.
I don't know that we need to itemize that, we can just say to the satisfaction of town comments, and with the waiver for the 5.12D.
All right. Tom?
I haven't heard a second to the motion, but I'll second it. But I have some comments to the motion, if I may.
Sure.
I appreciate to have the motion indicate the plan revision dates to, I think it's 11/29 was the submission date for what we're reviewing tonight. So I think that specific reference, would be appropriate to be in the motion. And I believe we had conditions that were attached to the original approval from last April, was it? April 4th?
April 4th.
And to have those conditions also be a part of the motion? Or is that, I'd ask our consultant if that's appropriate at this stage or not.
I would suggest no, that because that plan that you just approved included whatever comments conditions were made on the April, and plus it's a different plan as far as the
Yeah, it's a different
amount of
design.
impervious material and everything. So you're acting on this particular plan, the 1129 plan, yes. You know, but no.
And I think the motion does contain, as I heard it, the conditions that had been recommended by our planning consultant. So I would affirm my second of that aspect of the motion as well.
Mr. Chairman, before you act, can I just add something to it is, I would recommend, as you did, the staff's comments, and repeat it, the comments, because being a consultant, from looking back on other approvals, it was difficult to figure out exactly what was said.
Okay.
So I think it's a good idea to include those right into the comments.
To include the individuals, or to just, is my
Well,
statement, is
what
the
I-
way I phrased it okay, or do you want to say?
What I would like, what I will do in the minutes, it would include,
Okay,
your motion, it would state as recommended by the staff, and bing, bing, bing. It'll be,
So it
I was
would
prepared to
contain
read them all.
then if I may interrupt, it would contain the specific dates of the comments made by all three of you, the town engineer, the fire marshal.
The review
and
dates.
there's
yourself.
none really on this one. He addressed
Okay.
just the inconsistency and things like that. That would be in there. Thank you.
Splendid.
All right, and just to be clear, the plan set that we're talking about was submitted on November 29th. Not everything is dated November 29th.
It was, the plan was submitted on 12/1.
Okay,
The plan itself is dated 11/29,
okay,
and that's the way I put it down on mine.
so we'll include the 12/1 date?
11/29.
11/29.
As submitted
Refer to the
on
plan.
2023.
Yeah. Just, I think that's good, 11/29.
Okay,
All right. All right,
I agree with all that.
Are we including your comment down
Yeah.
about the three plans being consistent then?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, does anybody else have anything they want to add or say? If not, I think we all know what the motion is at this point. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
All right, no new business, no other business. We have minutes of November 21st.
I think they were written brilliantly, Mr. Chairman.
Boy, did you write them?
No, she did.
Yeah, it's a lot different from when I wrote them.
What are you trying to do?
Compliment, it's a compliment, that's all.
Trying to be nice to
Just
her?
be nice, George. Be nice.
Literally what he's doing.
Mr. Chairman,
I
there
don't
is
know
one
about
correction I'd have on the minutes.
Yeah.
That is the paragraph acknowledging the approval of the November 7th meeting minutes. And on that, I abstained in the late November meeting, as I had not attended the November 7th or the November 8th meeting.
Okay. All right.
You can still vote on the minutes.
I understand that, but I still consider it to be
I know how you feel.
problematical, so.
All right.
I'll make the motion to approve with
With the
changes
Second.
by Mr. Dean.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Staff report.
Mr. Chairman, we do not have any applications, new applications for the 19th, I think it's December 19th meeting.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. The other thing is,
Well, I guess just to put a stake in that, so we can
Yeah.
cancel that meeting.
We are,
Does this go-
is that the commission's?
yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
All right, so the
I
commission
speak for everyone.
canceled the meeting.
I'm going out on a limb here.
The,
We're going to come here to approve the December 5th minutes.
that's right. The, the RFPs are due. The RFP on the affordable housing, I was told late this afternoon that there was, we do have one firm submitted an RFP, but that's not due to Friday, and Monday is the RFP for the POCD. And nothing has come in yet, but I'm keeping an eye on it.
How do you feel about it?
Well, I feel great. I think.
I mean,
we
you
need
think
to-
with one at this point?
No, I'm hoping for more, obviously.
Okay.
Legally, can we go forward with only one?
I don't know. That's a good question.
State doesn't typically,
I would think so.
Yeah.
like state private, it's like, just because it's like, what's wrong?
They don't like Weathersfield?
I'm pretty sure you're gonna get more than that.
Would it be appropriate just to tell us if you get at least one submission anyway on it next?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Great to know.
I'll look
Yeah, I
at
mean,
it.
if-
You can always cancel and go out again.
Right. that's-
yeah, I mean, if you get one and it's non-responsive or too expensive, we can reissue it.
I haven't looked at even the submittal yet.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't look at any of them until after the deadline.
Right.
For 10 million.
That's all I have to,
All right, well, thank you very much.
thank you.
Nobody in the public, no correspondence. Anything else anybody wants to mention before we adjourn?
No Amazon headquarters wanted to come here this week, no?
Not this week.
Maybe next week.
Late delivery.
All right,
Motion to adjourn?
okay.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?